This next video you're about to see of MMTLMMJ's laboratory in Lakewood, Colorado. You're looking at the 1100 Agilent HPLC, but the active instrument we are videoing right now is a Varian 3800 GC mass spectrometer with a Saturn ion trap 2200 mass selective detector. And that's an 8400 auto sampler, and we are injecting a Cannabis Indica strain given the name of White Longarizia. Interesting name, and it's picking it up right now, and we're injecting 1 microliter samples, and the mass spectrometer uses a 2-minute delay to avoid saturating the filaments with too much methanol, even though we're using a 10-to-1 split ratio, and a 200 to 315 degree temperature program at 10 degrees per minute. There we go. And we're going for injector number 2. There we go. It just injected. The GC plate has gone to run mode. And now we're looking at the data collection, the total ion chromatogram, and we won't see anything until approximately 2 minutes when the mass spec turns on. So I'll sit down here and see if I can make this an interesting video. There's not going to be a lot of peaks in here except for cannabidiol, which elutes at about 6.6 minutes. And the psychoactive delta 9 THC, which elutes at about 7.3. In this case, there's probably about a 3-to-1 ratio of the CBD to the THC, which makes it a very valuable blend for processing into CBD oil, which of course can be used to treat anything from childhood epilepsy, autism, depression, cancer, nausea, about 16 conditions. And let's see, talking for about 1.5 minutes here. So we got about 30 seconds before the mass spec turns on, at which time we'll see a jump in the red baseline. And you can see we're in running mode on the status on the chem station. And Varian has actually been bought out by Bruker Corporation. So for technical support, I have to call to Sydney, Australia, although Agilent representatives are very adept at doing maintenance and repair suggestions for Varian products. And this uses a 30-meter column, which is about 100 foot long, 0.25 millimeters diameter, and 0.25 microns of a siloxane coating that's good up to about 320 Celsius. And there's some interesting items coming out right there at about 2.5 minutes that I do have no idea what they are. They could be chlorophyll derivatives or simple terpenoids. You'd have to look at the mass spectra and of the individual peaks to come at a conclusion as to what they are, or do a NIST library search, all of which is contained in the Dell Optiplex computer down there. And of course I've got an Epson printer for printing out a lot of the large volume of data that comes out from GC mass spec systems. And we are sitting at 3.3 minutes elution time now, and basically just looking at noise at about 18,000 counts of area. It's kind of noisy when you use solvent delays, and I might change this 2-minute delay to about 2.5 minutes, because Nothing of any interest usually comes out until approximately about 5 minutes runtime. And I'll let this video run until it finishes collecting its THC at 7.3 minutes. Maybe the cannabinol, CBN, at approximately 7.9. So I'll let this run to about 8 minutes. Otherwise, it's just looking at noise. Okay, we're at about 4.18 minutes. And the temperature right now in the column oven is 242. And I should mention I'm using a 250 degrees Celsius injection temperature also. Coming up on about 4.6 minutes. The CBD, the cannabidiol, when it comes out at 6.6 thereabouts, will probably go off scale on this presentation. And now we're approaching about 5.2 minutes. And you can see there is a little peak there at about 5 minutes. Some unknown terpenoid. And something else at 5:35. Could be tetrahydrocannabivarin, THCV, which has a propyl group rather than a pentyl group on the aromatic ring. It's also psychoactive, and it's not really present in this particular species of indica, but is more present in sativa blends. And is also semi-psychoactive, but not quite as potent as Delta 9 or Delta 8. THC, there's something at about 6 minutes. Could be a part of undecarboxylated acid form of CBD, cannabidolic acid. It's a good guess. But of course, you'd have to look at the mass spectra of that peak to really ascertain if that's what it was or not. Okay, we're coming up on 6.5. And there we go. There's something else there. Oh, there's our big one. Goes off scale. That's the cannabidiol. Very good peak. You can notice how it pretty much minimizes the rest of the prior noise that we were looking at. And let's see, now we're coming upon 7 minutes. And this does have probably about a 1/3 amount of Delta 9 THC in this, if I remember the HPLC data. Yep, that's about right, and that's at 7.38 minutes. And we'll see if there's any CBN at 7.9. I think there might be a smidgen of that in this particular indica variety, but we'll see. A little something at 783, but it's just a little tiny hump. And we're coming up on the 8 minutes, and there's no cannabinoids found in this particular variety after that CBN has alluded, so I am going to be shutting this video down. Oh, let's let it go for about 10 minutes. And my current rate for GC mass spec analysis, since it involves a lot more data, crunching than HPLC does, It's approximately about $6 per sample at present, and I am charging $5 per smokable right now on the HPLC. The advantage of this is that you can do basically 4.5 samples in 1 hour, because there's about 14 minutes lag time between each sample on this instrument. And on the HPLC, presently it's about 17 minutes lag time. And we do not do edibles on this particular instrument at present until we get the proper amount of extraction equipment. Probably continuous liquid extractors that eventually get all the water out of your system, because that cannot go into the mass spec. It's really hard on the filaments, so you usually have to transfer to unfortunately a chlorinated solvent like methylene chloride or chloroform. Okay, well, we're approaching 10 minutes, and we are going to say goodbye to the Varian 3800 Saturn 2200 GCMS.